Xi Jinping is trying to fuse the ideologies of Marx and Confucius. A new television show plays then at the center of Chinese culture. Listen to this story. Enjoy more audio and podcast on iOS or Android. Karl Marx and Confucius may have lived 2,400 years apart, but on Chinese state television, they stroll together through an ancient Chinese academy. In a sun-dapped bamboo grove, a group of student painters invite the two philosophers to be their models. As the young people paint, Marx and Confucius chat. They are impressed with China's high-speed trains, among other things. When the portraits are revealed, the thinkers are surprised. Marx is depicted
Depicted.
Marx is depicted in a Tang Dynasty robe. Confucius is portrayed in a Western suit and tie, but both are delighted. I have been in China for more than 100 years, says Marx in Mandarin. Actually, I have been Chinese for a long time, Confucius chuckled, stroking his beard. Long hair looks a bit strange with a suit, he says, but it makes sense to keep changing. The same is from When Marx Met Confucius, a television series created by the propaganda department in Hunan province and released in October. It is not popular. On Douban, a film website, it has received only 100 or so reviews, most of them negative. Example makes me sick. But for those who can stomach it, the show is a good way to understand Xi Jinping's thought on culture. The least branch of the Chinese leader's philosophy. The latest branch of the Chinese leader's philosophy. Other parts of Mr. Xi's thinking emphasize tighter Communist Party control over such things as diplomacy, defense, and the economy. Xi Jinping's thought on culture, announced in October, attempts to fuse pride in Chinese tradition with loyalty to the party. Its most important tenet is the two combines. Parties speak for a decades-long process to make Marxism more Chinese. The first combine refers to early efforts to adapt Marxism to China's specific reality. Such ideological flexibility allowed Deng Xiaoping, China's former leader, to pursue economy reforms in the 1980s. The second combine is Mr. Xi's idea to synthesize Marxism by melding it with traditional Chinese culture. Marxism. Marxism by melding it with traditional Chinese culture. The effort represents the culmination of a radical turnaround for the party, which once considered tradition its enemy. During the Cultural Revolution of 1966 to 76, Mao Zedong's Red Guards destroyed Confucius temples, burned Confucius texts, and desecrated the sage's tomb. Young people denounced their elders, contradicting Confucianism's emphasis on filial piety. But after Mao's death in 1976, the party warmed to Confucius, or at least to a simplified version of his teachings that emphasizes deference to authority. Then allowed public celebrations of the philosopher's birthday. Jiang Zemin and Hu Jintao, Deng's successors, appropriate Confucian ideas. In the early 2000s, Chinese scholars debate whether Confucianism might even replace Marxism as China's guiding ideology. Mr. Xi is putting an end to that debate. Marxism is the soul, and Confucianism the root of Chinese culture, he says. Neither ideology can be abandoned. Instead, they must be merged. When Marx met Confucius, guides views through this new thinking. For much of the 5 episodes, the philosophers sit on a stage in front of students and a rotating cast of scholars and party officials. A young woman wearing hanfu, traditional robes, planks a guzheng or ancient zither in the background. The philosophers converse with hologram of figures such as Vladimir Lenin and Mao, who explain how their thinking is compatible. The program's host then explains how it all fits into Xi Jinping's thought. The show glosses over big differences between Confucius, who believed hierarchies were necessary to maintain social order, and Marx, who called for a proletarian revolution. You were trying to maintain stability, and I was thinking the liberation of all mankind, says Marx. But aren't we both thinking the greatest good for all humans? When Marx mentions his vision of a classless society, Confucius says he has a comparable concept called 大同, great unity. So we have many similarities, says Confucius. The students applaud. Fuck the ugly program, the ugly show. Fuck it. Fuck all Chinese people. The Cultural Revolution is mentioned once. It did great damage, says the host. But Mao doesn't get the blame. At one point, his spirit appears, assuming Marx and Confucius that he was a faithful communist and defender of traditional Chinese culture. Confucius nods approvingly. The show spent more time bashing the West. A host blamed foreign bullies of China in the 19th century for long-term cultural inferiority complex, exacerbated by Chinese intellectuals who at the time claimed China's tradition made it weak. The early reform era of the 1980s is remembered as a dangerous period of historical nihilism when Western ideas misled Chinese people into criticizing the society and government. Can a country become strong if its economy develops? Can a country become strong if its economy develops but its spirit is lost? Asked the host, quoting Mr. C. No is the implicit answer. A good thing, then, that Mr. Xi is restoring China's confidence, the show claimed. Not only that, he and the party are pursuing the common good worldwide, in contrast to dastardly Western countries. America exports cluster bombs, while Japan dumps nuclear wastewater into the ocean, says the host. China, a responsible great power, would never do such things, he adds. Marx is impressed. He, he congratulates China for revitalizing socialism and fulfilling his vision. When Marx met Confucius, it's early to ridicule, but parts of his message are worrying. In the last episode, a student asks Confucius for advice on Taiwan, the self-governing island that China claims. We truly have a traditional culture of peace, but some Western countries only believe in the law of the judge, says the student. If they bully us or obstruct our nation unification, should we still speak to them of peace? Confucius furrows his brow. Goodness should be met with goodness, but hatred should be met with justice, he says. A host jumps in. China seeks peace, but if its dignity and interests are hurt, it will use military force to pursue national unification, he says. Images of fighter jets and warships fill the screen. What the fuck? What the? It's, I can't believe it. It's just like rubbish. A culture rubbish. Chinese culture is rubbish. It's garbage. Should be put into the trash can. Fuck Xi Jinping. Economist. October job report US job growth shows signs of slowdown. The labor market cooled with 150,000 jobs added in October, lower than expected but not too different from monthly job gains before the pandemic. So Biden just tell us the line. US employers added 150,000 jobs last month, falling short of forecasts. Employers added 150,000 jobs in October on a seasonally adjusted bias, the Labor Department said on Friday. The increase was slightly below what the economists had forecast, but not too different from the sort of monthly jobs growth the US economy was experiencing pre-pandemic. The unemployment rate, based on a survey of households, tickled up to 3.9% from 3.8% in September. It has been below 4% for nearly 2 years, a stretch not achieved since the late 1960s. Figures for August and September were revised downward by a total of more than 100,000 from earlier reports. The surprisingly strong September gain, initially reported as 336,000, was restated as 296,000 and will be revised again next month. This is mildly concerning, but for now, these are still strong numbers, says Sonu Vakhesa, chief market strategist at Carson Group, an asset management firm. I think this is still just normalization. Average hourly earnings were up 0.2% from the previous month, slightly less than expected, and were 4.1% higher than a year earlier, slightly exceeding forecast. The October numbers may have been held down because the survey was taken during major work stoppages, notably the strikes by the United Automobile, notably the notably not not notably the strikes by the United Automobile Workers and related layoffs. Since then, the UAW has reached tentative contract agreements with the three major US automakers and told striking members to return to their jobs. Some 96,000 people reported being out of work because of a strike or labor dispute in October, the most since 1997. Claudia Saha, an economist at the Federal Reserve from 2007 to 2019 and the architect of a trust recession indicator said the report did not suggest a good direction for the labor market, but she added that unemployment would have to tick higher over a longer horizon for it to be clear that recession risks were heightened. Throughout the year, the economy has defied forecast of a downturn, even as inflation lingered, driving down consumer sentiment and to some extent business confidence sentiment. There's no place for sentiment in business. The economy has also experienced tremendous bifurcation in the last couple of years, with median household net worth surging while the poverty rate has ticked back up from its lows in 2021. That's partly because the bottom one-third of households have exhausted saving accumulated during the pandemic and increased borrowing to stay afloat. A mammoth increase in interest rates put in place by the Federal Reserve since early 2022 is looming over vulnerable borrowers and businesses as winter approaches. Still, many market analysts are telling clients Friday that unless a major shock occurs or household savings drain faster than expected, the economy could keep chugging along, albeit at a more sluggish rate. After nearly 2 years of lagging behind inflation, recent wage gains has on average been surpassed the pace of price increases, and workers are still in demand. Layoffs for now are well below historical averages, and measures of labor force productivity have made impressive gains as well in recent months. Pace 步伐的意思
Pace.
A rock-solid American jobs market rose on, albeit at a moderating pace, said Joe Brushlas, chief economist for the accounting firm RSM, pushing back against a protruding sense of gloom. Income gains continue to outpace inflation, which bodes well for consumption heading into the traditional holiday spending season. Albeit. What does albeit mean?
Albeit.
A rock-solid American jobs market rose on, albeit at a moderating pace, said John Brushlas, chief economist for the accounting firm RSM, pushing back against a protruding sense of gloom. Income gains continue to outpace inflation, which bodes well for consumption heading into the traditional holiday spending season. On a more technical level, Mr. Brussels added, the report reaffirms the direction of monetary policy from the Fed, which has been cautious recently in rising rate further. Financial markets relied on the news. Last fall, a vast majority of economists in mainstream surveys had a high level of confidence that recession was ahead. This fall, forecasts for the coming year are more mixed. In a CNBC survey, economists, Wall Street strategists, and market analysts, 49% said that they still expected a recession in the next 12 months, while 42% predict a soft landing in which inflation continues to cool without a broad contraction. Broad contraction. Broad. Contraction 紧缩收缩 deal strategist and analyst 分析师 analyst analyst analysts analyst in a CNBC survey 调查
Survey.
In a CNBC survey of economists, Wall Street strategists, and market analysts, 49% said that they still expected a recession in the next 12 months, while 42% predict a soft landing in which inflation continues to cool without a broad contraction. Mammoth increase in interest rates put in place by the Federal Reserve since early 2022 is looming over vulnerable borrowers and businesses as winter approaches. Still, many market analysts Still, many market analysts Still, many market analysts are telling clients Friday that unless a major shock occurs or household savings drain faster than expected, the economy could keep chugging along, albeit at a more sluggish rate. Chugging. Chugging. Sluggish. Sluggish rate. Still, many market analysts are telling clients Friday that unless a major shock occurs or household savings drain faster than expected, the economy could keep chugging along, albeit at a more sluggish rate. After nearly 2 years of lagging behind inflation, recent wage gains have on average been surpassed the pace of price increases, and workers are still in demand. Layoffs for now are well below historical averages, and measures of labor force productivity have made impressive gains as well in recent months. A rock-solid American job market rolls on, albeit at a moderating pace, said John Brushless, chief economist for the accounting firm RSM, pushing back against a protruding sense of gloom. Income gains continue to outpace inflation, which bodes well for consumption heading into the traditional holiday spending season. Gloom. 若隐若现 Gloom. Reference the direction of monetary policy. Reaffirm. On a more technical level, Mr. Brussels added, the report reaffirms the direction of monetary policy from the Fed, which has been cautious recently in rising rates further. Financial markets roaring on the news. Relied rallied on rally on. On a more technical level, Mr. Brussels added, the report reaffirms the direction of monetary policy from the Fed, which has been cautious recently in rising rates further. Financial markets rallied on the news.